Hello, Seventh-day Ascendist children, to the Indigo children. The unofficial Tool podcast, Disgustipated, goes elbow deep, overthinking and analyzing Tool songs. I'm sorry to say that I wasn't able to get the episode done quick enough. I'm about 3/4 of the way done. Still got a little bit of editing to do and to put the pictures and everything else that I wanted to use in there. Due to going on a surprise vacation with some very good friends of ours. But I wanted to talk to you guys, show you this amazing view. I'm almost getting the sunrise. It's not quite up yet. In light of being at the beach and the waves and the ocean, I want to talk about the song Undertow for just a second. No, wait, the album. I wanted to talk about the album Undertow. More specifically, the song Flood. Flood was my introduction to Tool, and I was a fan of Tool. I wasn't quite a converted fan of Tool when I heard Schism. I loved it, part of it. It was a little long for my taste. At that point, I was just listening to Smashing Pumpkins and Third Eye Blind. I was a kid. But then I started playing music myself with a progressive band, and the drummer showed me the song Flood. He came over to my house, like I said, we were kids and I'm living with my mom. But he came upstairs to my attic room and showed me the song Disgustipated and Flood, which has the line, "I'm back down in the undertow." Now that song blew my mind because in my family, I'm not sure if anybody is diagnosed with mental health issues, but they definitely have their issues, as well as I. But the line where he says, "This ground is not the rock I thought it to be," that blew my mind, and I realized then that there's more to Tool than face value, and you got to look at the lyrics, because he's talking about sanity, but he's also talking about the undertow pulling him down. But it blew my socks off. That's why Disgustipated is the title of the podcast, in reference to the song that I heard right after that just gripped me in fear. You guys have my promise that I'll talk about, that I'll release that podcast on the 7th, and I've got time to get home and edit the rest of this. But I also wanted to show you something else. When we arrived, we saw a sign that is a Tool reference, sort of. Okay, again, thank you, Seventh-day Ascendist children, for your patience. If anything, you're used to the shifting, moving deadline of Tool-themed things, albums. I promise I won't talk about this one for 13 years. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I had this amazing experience when I was a little bit tipsy and walked down to the beach alone. It was a little bit unnerving anyway. But as I sat here watching the ocean waves kiss my feet, I sat here for maybe an hour looking up at the stars and the sky. And if you see that hole in the clouds, well, it was kind of the same way. There was a hole in the clouds above me in a U shape. And as I sat there looking up at the stars, I reached over and gently brushed the sand with my hand like a child. And the hand, underneath my fingers, little specks of blue appeared. And I had to do it, I had to repeat that several times to see if I was insane, which I still could be. But apparently there's something like a phytoplankton that is bioluminescent that normally causes blue waves, sometimes in large areas like Florida, and when they're in large amounts, like in Florida, you'll see blue waves, the Maldives as well. But it's a phytoplankton. But it was unbelievable. It wasn't even happening in the dry sand. My experiments failed in the dry sand. But as soon as I set foot back on the bank, it would start doing it again as I walked. It was pretty mind-blowing. It might have been a life-changing experience. I guess we'll see. But I'll show you one final thing before I go and get back to editing this podcast for you guys. Thank you again, my 7th day Ascendus children. This podcast is going to come out on the 7th day of every month, even if it's a half episode explaining that I fucked up. Thank you. Alright, I'm here. Check this out. Kind of rocked my world when we saw it, just a little bit. Ponce De Leon, referenced in the song Invincible by Tool on Fear Inoculum. That was fitting anyway, maybe for this trip at least. I'm aging myself, as we all are. About to be 36. And we came down here to celebrate my daughter's 8th birthday. For those of you that don't know, Ponce De Leon is rumored to have searched for the fountain of youth. Actually, on the Smithsonian website, it says that that's just a rumor, that there's no historical evidence of him having searched for the fountain of youth. But I don't know about you, but if I found it, I don't know that I'd want to tell everybody. Again, thank you all. Peace out. See you back in Tennessee.